Right then, let's talk about a player that I've often been accused of having an agenda against, Luke Shaw. Once hailed as one of the most promising left-backs in Europe, he has struggled to stay fully fit and meet that potential during his time with Man United. There's been flashes of genuine good play and maybe even brilliance, but his career for me has been marked by inconsistency, largely due to recurring injury issues, but inconsistency and I think ultimately disappointment. Now, Shaw's fitness problems have ranged from obviously the very serious long-term injury when he broke his leg with a double fracture back in 2015 to the frequent sort of muscle injuries that seem to just constantly keep him sidelined every single season. Now, despite those setbacks, questions have often been raised about his ability to maintain peak physical condition. There's a lot of rumor about his diet and his eating habits, which have further limited that development and prevented him from reaching the very high ceiling that people expected him to reach. Now, while he has had moments of resurgence, I think his career has been one that you can just call unfulfilled promise. The talent that he has been overshadowed by the inability to stay fit and fully maximize what could have been. If you are looking for a great sports betting experience, then sign up with Hollywood Bets and enjoy this incredible welcome offer. Get to £10 in free bets with your first free qualifying bet losses. And here's how it works. If you sign up using my link in the description, deposit using your card and place your first 3 bets on the sportsbook, each bet must be at least £10 with minimum odds of 1.5. These bets can be on any sportbook market and will qualify you for the offer. For each of your first 3 bets that you lose, you'll receive a £10 free bet up to £30 in free bets. And your free bets are valid for multiples as well as at least 3 events where each leg has minimum odds of 1.4. The total odds for the bet must be at least 3.0. Listen, there's more. If you place at least 2 qualifying bets, you'll also get 20 free spins on a slot game, John Hunter and the Book of Tut respin. To claim the offer, just make sure that you place your qualifying bets within 3 days of signing up to Hollywood Bets. For full terms and conditions, check the link in the description. Remember, you must be 18 or older to register and always gamble responsibly. If you need support, visit gambleaware.org. Now, throughout his time at Manchester United, he's had 25 separate injuries, totaling in 273 games missed. But it's not all doom and gloom for him. He's got some accolades in his time in the Premier League, including Team of the Year in 2021, as well as United's Players' Player of the Year in both 18-19 and 2021. He was also Matt Busby Player of the Year in 18-19 season. And while he's not yet won a Premier League title with Manchester United, those individual accolades highlight that fact that he's been able to have some impact when he's been able to stay largely injury-free. So I have to ask a few questions about Luke Shaw. Is it time to move on from him, with his availability being a major issue and him approaching 30 and being unreliable? Did he reach that potential? Are fans able to let go of the idea of Luke Shaw, in relation to this sort of ability and potential that he's not been able to show because of the injuries? Have those injuries impacted the partnership with Rashford? Has that affected Marcus and has it affected Luke Shaw? Will he be a victim of the Ineos wage budget cleanse? Has he been a victim of what United have been for the last 10 years? I can't imagine it's all his fault, but maybe the club needs to move on from that. And other players that have been here for that long also. Now, when I look at him from a tactical profile and a tactical point of view, I see a player that's got a high degree of versatility. When I look at how he performed as a left side centre-half, I was impressed. And when you look at what he offers in the final third, there's a lot to like. My issues with Luke Shaw came on the back of when he was defending. And United were in transition, and so often they would attack down Luke Shaw's side and he would be seen running backward, jogging backwards, and not really busting a gut to get back into place. He was just out of position in an area that seemed to happen all the time that United would get attacked down there. Now, when he became a left side centre-half, and when he became a little bit more inverted in his play, those issues went away because he was in the right position. And when he was in the right position, Luke Shaw's a very good 1v1 defender. And maybe it was frustration about knowing what could happen if he was actually in the right position. But when he is in the right position, he is bloody effective. And that being said, when he does go forward with the ball, we've seen him play inverted into the sort of halfback kind of role. And we've also seen him inverted in the half space as United go forward, linking up really well with Marcus Rashford in the final third. We've seen both of those things happen with him. We've seen increasingly last season that he was getting on the ball in the sort of 6 area of the pitch and showing what he can do from a playmaking side of things. There is a lot to like about Luke Shaw as a footballer. But the biggest thing, and it's said so many times, isn't it? The best ability is availability. And Luke Shaw, having missed 270 plus games, can't demonstrate that ability. I think United needs someone that can be relied upon. And I think this isn't a knock on anyone's ability. It just isn't, because his ability is there for all to see. But if you can't put a shirt on week in, week out, you can't be relied upon. And I think the manager needs that trust. Now, it's a shame if it comes to the fact that United go, no, we need to move on. But there are players out there that could replace him. And there are options in terms of how to replace him. And at the moment, there is a little bit of depth developing in defence. I wonder if Ineos looked at last season and said, we cannot go into this season with the same possible dramas that we had last season. We talk about having 3 first-choice centre-halves for just those 2 positions, but you've still got the likes of Lindelof and Maguire at the club. You've actually got a lot more than 3 for 2. You've got Johnny Evans, you've got Lindelof, you've got Maguire. You've actually got 6 for 2, which gives us a little bit of strength in depth. In the fullback area, yeah, it's a little bit on the weaker side, but you have got the likes of Lindelof who could step in if required. We have seen that. And then you've obviously got Delo and Mazraoui and Luke Shaw, who between them, 3 for 2 again. 3 starters for 2 positions. The versatility of Delo means that Delo's playing at the moment. I'm sure once Luke Shaw is fit, he will be given opportunities to try and take that place back. But United are in a relatively decent spot in defence. So we're not as desperate as we would be for, say, Højlund coming back. Or if we got injuries, significant injuries in midfield where we just don't have the capacity to be able to deal with those. I think Luke Shaw's a conundrum. 30 is no longer the cut-off that it used to be. As soon as a player got to 30, that it was a fact. Their legs were gone and they needed moving on. I don't think that's the case no more. Now, maybe it is the case with some players who started as young as Luke Shaw did, broke into the team very, very young, had some injury problems all the way through. He probably won't be playing when he's 40. But can he still put a shift in for United? Can he still be relied upon? We have to see what comes back on the back of this injury. I think probably weighing heavily on my mind and probably factored into a lot of how I feel about Luke Shaw at the moment is the decision to go and play for England when he clearly wasn't fit. It took him to the knockout stages to actually get fit enough to play for England. And I feel that was incredibly disrespectful to Manchester United, who pays his wages. We haven't seen him in a United shirt since February. And when he was selected for the England squad, me as well as a lot of United fans were of the same opinion. Okay, good luck with England. Do not miss a game of pre-season. Make sure you're there for when you're supposed to be there. And he didn't. He came back and apparently people were concerned about the shape that he came back in. And then within 3 or 4 days, he was injured. And then he hasn't featured. Didn't feature in the remaining pre-season games. Hasn't featured in the Charity Shield or the Premier League games from the start of the season. And that's not good enough. And that just highlights the issues with him. It doesn't matter how good he is. Can we pick him? Because if we can't, what's the point? Please let me know your thoughts on Luke Shaw in the comments below. Would you keep, or do you think it's time for him to be moved on? I don't think this is going to be decisive one way or another. I'm expecting there to be a little bit of debate about this, but give us your opinions and let's see where it goes. See you in a bit. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.